Alrighty, guys, we are back at the Capital Summit here in Miami. I am joined by Monica. Monica, welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you.
I just missed your panel and your talk. Maybe just catch us up a bit on what we missed here from the meeting room.
Yeah, it was really great. It was a very fun panel. It was actually probably the most women that I've been with on a panel in a long time, so that was really fun. Yeah, we had we were mostly talked about real world assets, vaults, and vault curators.
Okay.
And like, what is the role in our obligations to depositors in the ecosystem? What are the ways that regulation could be beneficial or could stymie growth?
Yeah.
No, it went everywhere. That's why I think we were supposed to be 15 minutes and we went for almost an hour.
Wow. Wow, that's a long panel.
Yeah, we took most of lunch, so
nice.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Well, there is quite a conversation following some of the recent events in DeFi around the types of lending and the future of on-chain lending. Obviously, there's different models, being tried and tested. I kind of have this big four: stablecoins, perps, tokenization, and vaults, really kind of coming out. How do you think about vaults specifically as it pertains to kind of what you guys are building with your company? I know that the types of products on chain are evolving. Kind of talk us through how you're seeing this evolution happen.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting past year. We've seen two things sort of happening at the same time. High quality available assets becoming useful on chain, perps, Hyperliquid, more spot assets than ever, starting to see real world assets on chain, like lots more interesting things that we can use. And we've seen significant compression in yield, in volatility, in the amount of money that people can earn from simple transactions like staking or lending. There's only so much money in the basis trade before you're capped out. And so people are starting to look for more sophisticated strategies for generating yield. And so, we have started into this realm of managed vaults because we saw a real need for people to get sustainable yield. And volatility-based income products are extremely prevalent in TradFi. There's like $150 billion in assets under management in these managed volatility products. A simple example is like JP Morgan's equity premium income. You put in US dollars, they buy the S&P 500, and then they sell calls on the S&P 500. When you sell calls, you get premium income. You use the premium income to buy more S&P 500.
Yep.
So like this kind of accumulation strategy using vol trading doesn't exist in crypto, at least not on chain in a way that people can actually access. The only place that it exists right now is if you have an OTC account, then you can call up FalconX or GSR or whoever and say, hey, I want to run this. And if you can give them $10 million, then they will run it for you. Sure. But the rest of us who don't have $10 million are still out of luck. Yeah. So we see bringing this strategy on chain, executing it on chain as a way to give everybody access to this really core primitive in a way that's like simple and digestible.
Okay.
When I tell people what I do, I'm like, I make ETFs for Bitcoin. I'm like, all of those things are actually wrong. Like, I don't make an ETF. But that's when it's simple. When I'm trying to show this to people who don't understand this world at all, like vault is a made up crypto term, right? If you were to talk to somebody in traditional finance, you might say that they have like a single separate managed account in which you have a manager that can access your trading account, but they can't withdraw. It's just starting to sound a lot like a vault, right? Where they can't take your money out because it's self-custodied, but they can choose how the money is distributed.
Right.
So like this paradigm exists, but figuring out how to talk to people who don't understand crypto and like teaching crypto people how to connect to the TradFi world, like really where our product sits like kind of in that sweet spot.
Yeah. And so the idea to build this, in the HyperEVM ecosystem as well as Base, is there a specific advantage that being close to the Hyperliquid exchange provides for the product?
Yeah. So one of the things that was really necessary to make this market possible is having a really liquid perps market.
Yeah.
And we sort of, in a nutshell, the way that our product works is vault, curator, sells calls. Our protocol buys the calls, hedges them using perps, and then sells them off-chain to off-chain counterparties.
Yep.
And so being able to make these transactions, Hyperliquid was really a necessary component of this. And a lot of people had tried to crack the perps market before, but Hyperliquid and then subsequently opening the Hyperliquid ecosystem to HyperEVM has been really critical for us. And it's honestly just like a pleasure to be part of that ecosystem too. We launched our product
right now, for
sure.
sure.
Yeah, it's great.
It is.
The vibes there are good, and the vibes everywhere else are sometimes can feel quite bleak. So,
Sure.
But it's still fun over in HyperEVM land
Yes, it
because
is.
there's been a lot of innovation in DeFi. It feels like DeFi is still nascent, but also sort of starting to come into its own now, and it feels good.
Yeah.
And people in HyperEVM understand DeFi.
Okay.
They came to Hyperliquid because they wanted to trade perps, and then they stay for all of the other fun DeFi innovations.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And so you're seeing like the depth and liquidity of the Hyperliquid perps exchange providing abilities for you guys to conduct these more sophisticated strategies on chain.
Exactly.
Could you just give us a couple of examples of like what these may look like for those who are listening who may be interested?
Yeah, so maybe I should take a step back. And so we have this managed product where people can just like dump Bitcoin in and we'll handle it for them.
Okay.
But then we also have a retail product, which has been running on HyperEVM, which is much more of a simple like, oh, I go to my Fidelity account and I sell covered calls on Apple stock. Like we let you do that through our portal on Bitcoin or Hype or ETH or Sol or any of the like top 20 to 30 tokens.
Yeah.
And so the way that works is basically you come, if you, let's say that you had some stable coins and you were interested in buying Bitcoin below its current trading price. I don't know what Bitcoin's trading at today. Let's call it 70K. Bitcoin's trading at 70. And you're like, I would buy some Bitcoin at 65. You could go to an exchange and you could put a limit order. Your limit order is like, I would buy 100K of Bitcoin at 65. You can cancel that order at any time. But if you were to agree to keep that order for a predetermined amount of time, maybe 2 days, we would pay you for that. That is a cash secured put, basically. So you come, you deposit some stables, and we will pay you up front. And then at the end of those 2 days, you come back and you either get your stables back or you get some Bitcoin. But either way, it's a much lower risk way to play with leverage. It's like you can play with leverage without getting liquidated.
Right.
Which, if you're a big fan of perps and you like having 20x leverage and maybe getting liquidated, then maybe that's not a selling point. But for the rest of people who maybe are interested in interacting with a market in a way that doesn't feel quite so scary, I don't trade perps because whenever I trade perps, I lose money.
Same. Yeah, I don't either.
But I trade a lot of calls and on our platform, and I do make money.
Good.
That feels good.
So what's coming next for you guys in HyperEVM? I think the ecosystem's really starting to come alive. Obviously, everyone's excited about Trade XYZ and these kind of non-crypto assets being tradable, and just the kind of spillover effect of the wealth that's been generated on Hyperliquid into the kind of more DeFi ecosystem. How do you guys take advantage of that going forward? What's coming next?
Dear Felix, dear Ondo, please bring spot tokenized stocks to HyperEVM.
Yes.
It's on HyperCore. We don't have HyperEVM access to it yet. We need Core Reader and Core Writer for tokenized stocks because that's the single most frequent request we get is when can I do calls and puts on Tesla, tokenized Tesla. Yeah. So, dear guy, can you speed that process up just a little bit? Guys, that would be nice. Other than that, our whole Vault project is all predicated on this idea that we should bring all of this money onto Hyperliquid and all of this money onto HyperEVM so that then we can be able to hedge it with perps and be able to. So I feel like I'm kind of championing the good fight here for building the ecosystem. Yeah. So that feels good.
Great.
Yeah. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Vault will launch soon. There's a lot of legal underpinnings that need to get solved, and then we have our first depositors, and how do we handle the wrapping of Bitcoin and all of these things that are annoying and technical, but we're ironing them out, and hopefully we'll be able to launch soon.
Well, guys, you've got two Hyperliquid bulls here. That's for sure. This is Monica, the co-founder of Hypersurface, bringing interesting, more sophisticated yield strategies on-chain to HyperEVM. I know you've had a long panel. I wish you a great week in Miami. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Monica.
It was great.